What's up guys, it's Paraly5er here, and today I'm going to be showing you my brand new favourite world from Grounded Playgrounds, specifically for practicing Grounded. Now, as you can see, it's the one at the top of the screen here. You can see the code on the screen, and it'll be on the screen throughout the video. Thank you to TrueTechLynx, who made the map, and let's load it up and show you what it's all about. I also wanted to put a quick reminder in to plug my own map during this video. We have a Find the Button map released. There are 10 levels, and it is made by myself. So if you want to go and play the map, the code is at the bottom of the screen right now. I'll also put it in big text on the screen so that you can see it. There are a bunch of buttons. You push the button and you find it. There's 10 different levels, from an ant's nest to a lab to all sorts of stuff. I don't want to spoil anything, but I recommend you download it and go have some fun. I would really appreciate it. We're on about 500 downloads right now, and I haven't even promoted it. So go ahead and download it, have some fun, and see if you can find all 10 buttons. As you can see here, we spawn in this cool little area, and it says created by TrueTechLynx. Test builds against bugs, practice against bugs. There's a bunch of different stuff that's on this map. So the first thing that we have over here, we have a daytime button and a nighttime button. Now, there is labels for a lot of this stuff, but the current build of Playgrounds is very, very buggy, and it doesn't seem to work. There's beds here for setting your spawn, since the actual spawn points don't seem to work either, but I'm sure that'll all get fixed soon. You have a water cooler here for infinite water. You have a storage basket with a bunch of different food types, and fridges with a bunch of different food types as well, and infinite crafting's on, so you can make whatever stuff you want to make. We also have a bunch of other stuff over here. So you have 4 pinch whackers and prod smackers. You have all of the different trinkets you could possibly need for testing your builds, and then a crafting table and a smithing station. Now, unfortunately, you can't use the super dupers currently in the world because you need the duper discs, and those don't exist. So unless you use cheats, then you're not going to be able to spawn those in. But then we have this room here, which is possibly the coolest room on the map. So if I hit this button here, it's going to give me a random set of armor, like, you know, it says right here, random set of armor. So you press it, it'll just give you a random set of armor. You keep pressing it, it keeps changing the armor set you have. You can see in the top right, it's giving me a different set of armor every single button press. Well, sometimes I'm getting the same sets. But, you know, see, we're on Crusty Roly Poly now. If I switch, we got B. If I switch, we got Fire Ant. Let's stick with Fire Ant. And this one gives you a random weapon, so let's try this out. I'm not liking the Stinger Spear. 200 bombs. Okay, did not know that was a weapon you could get. Let's see if we can actually get a good weapon here. My inventory is now full with bombs. That's not ideal. I will take the Rusty Spear. The Rusty Spear is pretty good. Yeah, let's empty the inventory a bit. I did not realize we could just pick up 10 million bombs from doing that, to be honest. So what this is a bunch more randomizers. So if I flick this lever, it should you use trinkets, and it'll randomly pick yes or no as to whether you should use trinkets. Yeah, it's flicking on no a lot, but there you go. It goes to yes, goes to no. This one here, it tells you random armor path. So if you can't decide whether you want sleek or bulky, or you want the game to pick a random armor path for you, you flick the lever. It wants me to upgrade down the bulky path. Random bug type. Okay, it randomized to tier 3 creatures. You can pick what's over here. Random. Sometimes the game is very buggy and the names of stuff don't spawn in for a while, so I don't know what this one says, to be honest. There's no way for me to see it because Playgrounds is buggy, okay? It's experimental. Again, this one... Okay, this one's showing up now. Maximum number of mutations? 2. Okay, what about how many... Oh, random weapon path. What kind of weapon upgrade? It wants me to upgrade down the sour path. Okay, let's go upgrade down the sour path on our Rusty Spear then, since that's what we picked on the randomizers. Obviously, you could also just upgrade down your own path if you're wanting to test out a bunch of different armor yourself. I don't know if it chose the sleek or bulky path, but I'm going to go down the sleek path because it's the Fire Ant armor, realistically. That's the best path to take. Right, so did this text fix itself yet? Because a lot of this text, it's not his fault that it's bugged, it's kind of the game's fault that it's bugged, and there's not really much you can do to fix it, so you kind of sometimes just have to wait for it, and eventually it shows up, which is frustrating, but what can you do? What about these buttons over here? What do they do? Random smoothie, random shield, random ammo, random meal, and random trinket. Let's get a random trinket, the shiny salt crystal. Let's get a random smoothie, 30 beefy workers comp. I don't think it gets much worse. And we'll take the black ant shield as well. So then you have a bunch of other stuff in this world. So the first thing here, we have a like basketball. You press the button, and this one counts up on a timer, and you can score with the basketballs. And when you do score, it'll increase your score, or you can manually increase the score, I guess. There we go. We scored a goal. I guess you have to manually increase the score if you have two different teams like this. But yeah, this one has like a timer that you have. Whenever you reset the scores, which is the button on the left, it will also cause the timer to reset. This one's different over here. This one's a countdown timer from 100 down to 0. You have to score as many as you can in the time. And yet again, if you press one of the buttons to reset the scores, then you will reset the timer as well. Now we have a bunch of teleporters. We're going to go left to right on the teleporters. So let's see where this takes us, shall we? The very first teleporter here takes us into a lab. And I do believe these all spawn tier 1 creatures. Now, like I say, there's a lot of issues with stuff not showing up. There we go. 2 creatures. 1 creature. Okay, so I want to spawn in. Let's go with 1 red soldier ant. And we'll go with 2... is the text going to reappear, or is it just gone forever? We'll just go with a bunch of random bugs. And then this one's a little confusing, I have to admit. This is probably my least favourite of the spawn areas for spawning stuff in. It's a little confusing to find your way to the actual bug arena, but I'm sure we'll make it there if we go in the right direction, which seems to be... There's a lot of levers here, oh my god. There is a lot of tier 1 creatures, to be fair. This is a randomizer again for randomizing which creatures you would like to spawn in. There's more checkpoints there, since obviously there's no current way. And as you can see here, we got a red soldier ant, which is what we spawned in. We didn't get the random creatures that we spawned in, which is a bit strange. That doesn't seem like it worked. Let's see what else there is up here that we can spawn in, shall we? If the text shows up, probably not because the game is bugged. So let's just flick a few of these levers and let's just see what we end up with in here. It should be either 5 or 6 creatures, I think. Oh no, that's definitely... Okay, yeah, that's a lot of red soldier ants, a lot of lavas, and a lot of lawn mites. Luckily, I have a sour rusty spear rather, so it should be pretty good against all of these enemies, ideally. It's literally a tier 3 weapon, there's no way. But yeah, as you can see, it works. I think I spawned in 10 of each, if I had to guess. We got a lot of creatures there. Very, very dangerous thing to do. Obviously, all the mutations are unlocked by default as well. So you can have any mutations you want to use. So that's the tier 1 creature area. I'm just going to go ahead and give up and respawn. I'm assuming I keep all my gear on me, probably. Yep, sweet. So now we are back at the spawn area. That was the first teleporter. Teleporter number 2 is next. This takes us to another lab area, which, similar to the first one, this one is going to be tier 2 creatures. Again, the text isn't showing up because the game is bugged, not because the map maker did a bad job. If I wait here for like 5 minutes, it'll probably eventually show up. There we go, see, it showed up eventually. So this is 1 tier 2 creature. Again, you flick the levers in here, and when you go through to the arena, which is at the very end of the area somewhere, when you eventually go through to the arena, it's going to have all those bugs inside of it, which is very, very cool. It's a great way to practice fighting a bunch of different enemies in the game. It's a little confusing on where to go for some of these. Maybe he can throw a couple of extra rocks in, because I just came down here and now I'm at a dead end, which is a bit weird, but, you know, it is what it is. It's still a map in the making. I very much enjoy using the map. I'm sure he can block off a few of the areas, but some of the later game areas are much, much easier to use. So let's go to some of the later game areas where we can actually understand what's going on. So this one is a really cool looking area. So what you do over here, you have a bunch of chandeliers and stuff lighting. Actually, this is one of my favorite areas. This is tier 3 creatures specifically. Again, you can use a randomizer to spawn in. It's telling me I've got to spawn in 3 of a creature. So it says here 3, 4, 5. The text is finally showing up. Random creature amount, 1 creature, and then if I go down here, it should tell me what the creatures are, but it's bugging. So we have infected wolf spider, termite. Let's do a termite king. Let's do 2 termite soldiers, and let's do 3 termite workers. So now if we go into the arena, you just follow the lights. This one's much easier to follow than some of the other ones we've done. We should have a Termite King, 2 soldiers, and 3 workers is what I flicked. Let's see if that's the case. Again, more spawn points in case you end up dying. What have we got here? This is a very large arena. We have a Termite King, we have 2 soldiers, and we have 3 workers, which is exactly what we asked for. So, as you can see, it works perfectly fine. There might be an issue here or there. It's a very new map, but this is one of my favorite maps so far. It is extremely well designed. Literally one of the best arenas. There's loads of room running around. You can test any of the builds you want to test against any of the creatures in the game. I don't know how I guess I looted the body by accident. I was like, how did I even pick up items there? As you can see, this Sour Rusty Spear, it seems to be pretty good against the king unless it flies away. Which, how does it bounce off of him? I have no idea. But it seems like it's a pretty good weapon choice, that's for sure. You can also use this to make bugs fight each other, obviously, if you spawn them in. Like they did with the lava and the red soldier ants earlier. So if you wanted, for some reason, to create a bug battle, if you think you're mother chudders, then you could go ahead and do that as well. I'm getting rolled here, but the Termite King got rolled, so that's all that matters. Right, let's respawn again. Right, if we go straight ahead, we have another teleporter. Again, I think these are labeled. It's just not showing up properly. So this area is slightly different. There are multiple floors. So if you want to spawn multiple of a creature, you go up the different floors, and then you can jump out onto the little crash pad there to not take any fall damage. This is the boss arena, so pulling multiple levers there was probably a bad idea. This one is to practice boss fights. Obviously, not going to work with certain bosses. Like the assistant manager doesn't have any pillars. Director Schmechter doesn't have anything to spawn in. But some of these boss fights will actually work pretty well. I do kind of wish they'd made it on the regular box map, like the regular grassland map, and then you could teleport to all the different areas. Oh wow, this mantis really wants me, eh? But yeah, you can use this to practice a bunch of different boss fights in the game, which is really cool. The mantis doesn't like me, and I can parry as much as I want. I'm still going to get debuffs. Because... Oh, and I got screamed by the broodmother. Nice. But yeah, this is a test for the bosses. Obviously, they're slightly different and slightly easier in that arena for the infected broodmother, the assistant manager, and Schmechter. But you can test your luck against things like the mantis. The broodmother obviously won't have her summons either, so it does make quite a few of the boss fights quite a bit easier, but it is what it is. This one here is going to spawn in orc creatures. I'm not going to show you that area. This one does underwater creatures, which is slightly different. In the sense that this map here is kind of difficult to get underwater creatures. So there's a pretty shallow little pond area here that you can use for the underwater creatures. You spawn them in, they spawn down here. Obviously it's going to work. And then finally, the final area which you can teleport to. Well, there's a teleport area here for the lounge, it's called. This area here has like a bunch of cool looking stuff, a bunch of coziness, and a bunch of decorations where you can just sit around or rest and stuff like that. There's a bunch of coming soon areas. I don't know what's going to be in those. If we go over here, there is like a shooting range, which is pretty cool. So if you hit the targets, you'll get a bunch of points. There's ground target score, total score, air target score, and you have to shoot all the different targets. Obviously, it works if you throw your weapons at them as well. So we got a point on the total and the ground target scores. And then over here, last but not least, if you really feel demented, you have a passive creature area where you can spawn in a bunch of the passive creatures in the game and farm them. Although the meaty gnats seem to be killing them for me, which is kind of funny, actually. And I don't have a weapon anymore, although these are passive creatures, so I should be able to kill them regardless. So yeah, I think this is possibly currently the best training map. It lets you customize not only the bug you want to spawn, but the number of bugs you want to spawn. You can randomize your gear if you're looking for a challenge. You can play basketball. You can practice your aim with bows. There's a bunch of different stuff you can do on this map. Obviously, there's still work to be done. You need to be able to spawn in the duper discs. You can't do that in creative right now. You can do it with cheats if you play on PC, so you could actually adjust the map to fix that. The randomizers work really, really cool. I think a lot of this stuff is really cool. I'd like to see the labs maybe change the way you spawn the stuff in. It is a bit strange. The arenas aren't ideal, but it is what it is. I really, really like this map. Obviously, the code has been on the bottom of the screen the entire time if you want to play the map, so make sure you go and show the creator of the map some love. Shout out once again to the creator. The man put so much text in the map, he broke it. TrueTechLynx, there it is on the screen right now. Yeah, the text is very, very broken. Again, not the creator's fault. Don't blame the creator. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like on the video. Go show the creator some love. And if you need to practice against any specific enemies, especially the Black Widow with the changes that have been made to it, then I recommend you download this map and you go and play it. Code is at the bottom of the screen right now. I'll see you in the next video. Have a great rest of your day.